Welcome back. Time now to focus on our personal finance corner. Hemant Rustagi is our expert for the day. Good afternoon, Hemant. Thanks for joining in. Our first query is by Girish. He's written to us. He's written us an SMS from Mumbai. So to read out his question, he would like to invest 1 lakh in mutual funds for 10 to 15 years, and he would like you to suggest, Hemant, some of the best plans. Which ones are they? Hemant? Okay, I think we lost that connection right now. We'll just try and connect back to Hemant in terms of the personal finance query. But like Rima was pointing out, the rupee is currently back at the low point, so 59.28 is currently where the dollar rupee is. There were some statements which had hit the wires earlier that there could have been some amount of intervention which could have been mandated by the RBI in order to manage any sort of further appreciation on the rupee. So currently the rupee is at around 59.27. For the markets, we're holding fine. So the Nifty is currently up around 0.5%. We have the mid caps also, which are up around 0.7%. Otherwise, in terms of stock specific, it is a couple of these public sector stocks in the broader markets which are selling off as well. So we have Allahabad Bank, for example, which is down around 3%. We have UCO Bank, which is currently down around 2.2%, and Andhra Bank, which is currently down around 2%, and Bank of India too, which is selling off a tad bit. So that one too is down around 2%. Okay, I believe we've reconnected with Hemant. Hemant, if we have you, I'll just read out the question yet again. Girish has written to us from Mumbai. He would like to invest 1 lakh in mutual funds for the next 10 to 15 years, and he wants to know from you which are the best plans. If you could advise him.
Yeah, I mean, in fact, before deciding which options to invest in, he must look at his asset allocation. Asset allocation is a process whereby one decides how much money should go into debt, equity, or whether it should be a hybrid. Asset allocation is very important because it decides the kind of risk one is taking and the kind of return one can expect. The major factor to be considered while deciding asset allocation is the time horizon. In this case, Girish has said that he can invest for 10 to 15 years, which means that he must invest in an asset class which has the potential to give him higher return and also beat inflation over a longer period, because his time horizon is 10 to 15 years. Now, there are two ways he can invest in equity. One is to invest directly into stocks, which will obviously require him to have the skills to select the right stocks and also monitor their progress. Another option for him is to invest in well-diversified equity mutual fund, which I think is the route he should be taking. And if he invests through SIP in these funds, in equity funds, over his time duration, then he can also benefit from averaging. So a couple of funds that he can look at for this time horizon is HDFC Equity Fund, ICICI Focus Blue Chip Fund, and Reliance Equity Opportunity Fund. It's a combination of a multi-cap, a large cap, and a mid-cap, which will be ideal for him.
Okay, Hemant, thanks very much for joining in and taking us through those personal finance queries. Let's also tell you about our closing bell money control question of the day. Do you think the SLR cut of 50 basis points will help boost loan growth? Log on to moneycontrol.com and post your responses there. We will read out some of the most interesting responses post 3:30 p.m. today. On that note, we'll wrap up this edition of Markets and Macro as well. Business Lunch is up next. The Nifty is in a good position.